What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Afterlife. Today I'm going to be showing you how I ship my snakes, and hopefully that's going to help you ship your snakes. Either if this is the first time that you're shipping them, or maybe the last time that you shipped them didn't go too well. I know how stressful it can be. Believe me, the first time that I wanted to ship a snake, I was just freaking out because, you know, it's your babies, it's your animals, and you don't want to have that experience where something goes wrong along the way, ends up being a bad experience for you and for your customer. So hopefully this helps kind of ease the tension a little bit on your first time, or maybe some things that you didn't consider if you already done it a couple times, or maybe one time or something like that. I go through Ship Your Reptiles and to get my shipping supplies. That's where I go to create my shipping labels. They have a contract with FedEx, and basically it's really easy to just jump in their webpage and just put all the information that you need, and that's also where you get them. When you buy the kits to Ship Your Reptiles, you can buy things separately, or you can buy as kits, which I believe, you know, one kit includes like the box, the insulation, heat pack or cold pack, the container where you're gonna have your snake. Or you can buy in bulk, which is what I do. I buy at a minimum, I think it's like 10 cases at a time, and then you can also buy bulk heat packs and bulk snake bags and things like that. That way you can have plenty, because it is a little bit cheaper when you buy in bulk. You're gonna need a box, obviously, and you gotta make sure that you look at their descriptions, because they have different size boxes. I think this is the second or maybe the third one up from their smallest one. This is a 12 by 9 by 6, and this is basically the standard that I get, because although I can ship my hatchlings in a smaller box, I would have to get like boxes that are small for hatchlings and then boxes that are for juveniles. It's just easier for me to just get one size that fits them all. But this is basically the one that I get. You cannot use Amazon boxes or boxes that you get at U-Haul or something like that. Once you have your box, of course you want to assemble it, and you're gonna want to start with the bottom. Okay, this side up. Start with the bottom. Now, here's where my process might differ from yours. You can use your regular tape. You can actually go to Sticker Mill. They have a ton of advertising stuff, and this is one of my absolute favorites to get from them. You can just use regular tape, works just as well. So now that I have two pieces of tape, I'm gonna set one aside. I'm not gonna use this one until the hatchling is completely ready to go. And the way that this tape works, you're gonna need like a nice little sponge. All you're gonna have to do is wet the tape. In my case, just give it a quick wipe with the sponge, and it sticks to the box really well. Make sure that you really get everything sticking to the box. Check that out. I really like the contrast of the black one on this one, but I don't know, I like them both. Can't decide. Once you have your box this way, you're gonna grab your insulation, which is this right here. You're gonna need two of each of the pieces. This is the top and bottom. I'm gonna grab one of those, okay? And then you're gonna grab one of the side pieces, and that's gonna leave you some space over here to slide one of the big ones. Just be careful because they're foam. If you do bend them too much, they will break. Smaller one right in there, this one right here. Now the next thing you're gonna need, your hatchling. Now I have seen big time breeders ship their snakes on these. I don't like to do that. That's just my personal preference. When I'm shipping hatchlings, I like to use snake bags. Okay, and basically what's gonna happen is I'm gonna put my hatchling in here, okay, and I'm going to make sure it has enough space in there so it can still move a little bit, but not too much space where he's all over the place trying to look for an exit or something. Now, why do I prefer the snake bag? Because I feel when I put the snake in one of these, even if it's a smaller one, even if you secured your snake in here with a bunch of more insulation like we're gonna do right now. Even when you make everything nice and tight, and we have this scary snake right here. That's a demonstration. Even if you leave a little bit of space, unfortunately, FedEx, they're not very careful with your packages. Okay, just because your package says that it's fragile, that there's live animals inside, you have to assume the worst, because they're working fast, they're not paying attention, whatever it is, they can just throw your package onto the car, onto the plane, onto the pallets, whatever it is at the shipping center, and you don't want your snake to be going. Okay, you don't want that. At least I don't want that for my animals. So even if you do a fairly tight, container that is almost the size, I mean, your snake is gonna ball up. It's gonna change shapes. And in comparison, if we put it in a snake bag like this, I'm only giving it the space that it needs to be comfortable. Let's pretend for a minute that we seal this up. Use this to tie a knot on my snake. What I will do is actually use a zip tie and make sure that this is tight. If you don't do a good job of making sure that that bag is nice and sealed, you don't want your snake getting out of the box or rattling in there. But anyways, once you have your snake in here, when you put your snake in here, put some tissue paper, paper towel, nice and roll folded, so that it can be here just in case of the snake pees. That towel can soak up most of the liquid, and your snake, the whole bag is not gonna get wet, and the stuff around is not gonna get wet. And then, especially in the cold temperatures, you're not gonna have your snake completely wet with cold pee, basically. So that's gonna do some work in soaking up that pee. And then what I like to do is, you can use newspaper. I like to use this butcher's paper. I'm basically gonna grab a bunch of that. And I'm gonna put it all around the sides of the box, like that. So that's gonna prevent my snake from going back and forth. Okay, now that you have a good nice space where your snake is gonna be tight, I like to take it out, put a few of these peanuts, and again, you can use newspaper too if you want. I just like to create some extra cushion for my animals. You put your snake in here, okay, and then you're just basically gonna fill in the rest of the box with your peanuts or with your newspaper. I see some people use some kind of like cotton material, and they just fill it up. Main thing that you have to remember is that you want your snake to be able to breathe. Okay, again, you want it nice and tight, but not something where the box is gonna be squishing it down. And then check and make sure that it's not applying too much pressure. If you're struggling to push this down, that means that you need to take some of that insulation off. Now, another thing that we're gonna do, this is gonna be very, very important, especially if you're using a heat pack. Ventilation holes for your animal where the air can actually get through. The reason why you want air in your box is because those heat packs work with the help of oxygen. Oxygen, not oxygen. And if there's no oxygen going in for the heat pack, it's not gonna warm up, and your heat pack is gonna be basically useless. If you're gonna use a heat pack, okay, remember that the heat pack is gonna go on the roof. So basically, this is gonna be your ceiling. That's where it's supposed to go. When I'm using a heat pack, I like to put it on the heat pack on one side, and my snake, I'm gonna put it on this side, away from the heat pack. Okay, that way it can still produce that warmth, but it's not gonna be directly on top of my snake because they do get really, really hot. When you use the heat pack, you're gonna open it and you're gonna see that it has a red line going through it. It is very, very important that you do not block that red line. That red line is where the oxygen is gonna go in it needs it to breathe. If you block that red line, and I've seen it, snakes that have been sent to me, I'm not gonna say any names, and I've seen it all. I've seen no holes in the box, red line being blocked, and basically my snake was freezing cold when it got here, and the heat pack wasn't even hot. You know, and that's because they're blocking that line. So don't block that line. Okay, make sure that it's very secure with the tape. That way it doesn't fall and touches your snake. You don't want that on top of your snake. In this case, I'm not gonna use a heat pack because it's the summer. It's really hot right now. Once you have those things together, you basically gonna close this. It should be nice and flat, because these boxes, like I said, they are 12 by 9 by 6. You don't want your box looking like this when it's closed, because that, if it goes past a 12 into a 12.1, 12.3, 12.5, FedEx is gonna round to 13, and they're gonna charge you for it. So be careful with that. If you do end up with your box at a 12.1, it's better to just round up. That way they don't charge you extra. Now, the difference between the snake bag and the deli cup, that snake is not going anywhere. The deli cup, if I was to put it in a deli cup, again, this is not to criticize anyone that does it this way. This is just my concern and the reason why I don't use deli cups. That's still fairly tight with this. Okay. That's my snake in there. I don't want that. I don't want my snake bouncing around in there. And, you know, once they get it, they might not be able to see any physical damage in the exterior, but who knows what's actually happening inside. Imagine what they go through in the distribution center, going from one hub to the other, to the airplane, to the truck. Just, you don't want that. Anyway, guys, once you have your box nice and sealed, obviously I'm not gonna do it because I'm not shipping today, I'm shipping tomorrow. Just like to get it ready. You're gonna put your other tape on top. Okay, make sure that you're not blocking breathing holes. This is very, very important right here. This is your Lazy Act labeling. I've seen this too, people shipping me snakes. You have to write mark for one, if it's aquatics or reptiles. List the quantity and the species. Okay, it doesn't say here, but if I'm not mistaken, and I still do it anyway, I not only put the species but the common name. So for instance, you will write quantity 1 ball python / python regis, if that's what you're shipping. This right here is what's keeping us being able to ship our reptiles the way that we do. If we start having instances where people are not following the rules for shipping, which, as you might know, it's not something that is readily available. You can't go to UPS and ship things. You cannot go to USPS and ship things. Okay, it is a very exclusive thing, and we start messing those things up, we're not gonna be able to ship anymore. That's gonna be devastating for our hobby. In this case, this box already has this print in here. Okay, so I don't need a label. But if your box doesn't have a label, you also have these. Okay, and I actually, on top of mine having this, I still like to put it on the other side, because this one has a little note to the FedEx agent, just in case that they don't know that FedEx is authorized to ship reptiles. It says so right here. Okay, it talks about Opal Shipping being an approved FedEx shipper. Just send it through. Okay, so I still like to do that. And another tip that I'm gonna give you, once it's ready to go, and once you put your shipping label on top, on the side where you want to put it, grab a marker and put your shipping information on the side, the tracking number. Why? Because the shipping label can get damaged, and when barcodes don't scan, when it's not readable for whatever reason, it got wet, it ripped off, whatever it is, you put your tracking number right here. They can always say, hey, look, there's the tracking number, put it in the system and print another label. Slap it on the box and away it goes. There you have it, guys. I think I covered everything Let me know if I missed anything or if something wasn't clear or you still have any questions. I'm more than happy to help. I know how frustrating it can be not finding this information or not being clear, or maybe someone out there has the wrong information and you base off of that and then something happens to your animal. It's not fun. So let me know if you have any other questions. I am happy to help. Anyway, thank you guys, and I'll see you next time.